Brown from Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I would like to welcome our new colleagues to the committee. In the last Congress, this committee was marked by division, dysfunction, and dishonesty. I was hopeful this would change with the new Congress. Sadly, I can't say I'm surprised to see the same petty partisanship returning again. Let's be clear, there is important work to be done in this committee. We could be focusing on ways to improve the lives of the American people, like bringing down grocery prices, improving access to health care, or making housing more affordable. Instead, our very first hearing is a political assault on the federal workforce. The irony could not be more glaring. We are sitting here in front of former Commissioner O'Malley just days after President Biden signed the Social Security Fairness Act into law. The new law removed unfair penalties that were reducing the Social Security benefits of teachers, postal workers, law enforcement officers, and other public servants for decades. This bipartisan legislation was a big win for the constituents we serve, and timely implementation of the law is critical to the 200,000 Ohioans who will see their monthly benefits increase by hundreds of dollars. Yet instead of discussing this monumental win with Mr. O'Malley, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have called him to discuss telework. So before I get into the topic of this hearing, Mr. O'Malley, I want to give you the opportunity to discuss the Social Security Fairness Act and what it means for former public servants.
This has been a long, lingering problem that many of you in Congress have been working on, and then the legislation was finally passed in a bipartisan way. In essence, to explain it as plainly as I can, there were a number of public employees that were allowed on the option of their employers, the county, cities, states, to essentially opt out of paying into Social Security during the time that they worked as public employees, public servants, law enforcement officers, firefighters, because on the rationale that they already had a pension, a government pension. And in 1982, periodically, Congress looks at the 75-year projection of Social Security, makes adjustments so it can continue on. In 1982, one of the proposals in that compromise was to offset the pension benefit, which, as some of you know, has a progressive formula, to offset the benefit by an amount that they had earned in their other pension, their public pension, not Social Security. And so this bill went into the trust fund to the tune of $222 billion, if memory serves me correctly. And in order to address that, that also created a huge workload for the agency without another dime put to processing it. So they are going to have 3 million underpayment cases to process. But the good news is the firefighters, the teachers, and many of those others aren't going to face the shock when they're not able to put as much together for their retirement as they thought they would, because a lot of times they were unaware until they applied for their benefits. So it was a very good thing, but the agency will struggle to get that workload out given the reduction in staffing to a 50-year low.
Thank you. Before returning to telework, I'd like to make a few points. On Monday, a new president will be sworn in, a president who openly pledged to purge thousands of hardworking federal employees and politicize the justice system, a president known for self-dealing, abusing power, and trampling on civil rights, and a president who obstructed Congress, incited violence, and sought to undermine the peaceful transfer of power. We are the Oversight Committee, and we should be working to block and expose such dangerous abuses. Instead, we are holding a hearing today that advances the incoming president's political crusade against the federal workforce. I will continue to defend the hardworking servants who keep the federal government running and serving the American people. The federal workforce has become more resilient, diverse, and productive over the last decade. This progress is largely due to the expansion of telework flexibilities, which have empowered employees to adapt to changing demands while maintaining high levels of performance. Telework policies have enabled thousands of federal workers, including the almost 10,000 federal workers in my district, to seamlessly continue their their essential duties, whether in office or remotely. In short, telework flexibilities have helped government remain efficient and effective in serving the American people. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.